Yeah.
Brick-making workshops.
Yeah.
And the clay that was used, this is the clay that was used for those workshops, raw clay, it's got this internet, it hasn't been purified. And yeah, the project, that brick-making project just ended up with a whole surplus material. And I asked whether we could reclaim it. And one of the really beautiful things about clay is that unless you fire it, you can constantly reuse it. So this clay has been used sort of cyclically through various projects over the last year. And the idea is we have a sort of mound of raw material and people just, and we need that like online. Amazing, okay.
Exchange and stuff. And they've done like a travelling art school a couple of years ago. And then their new project, Pacto, is like more of like a research-based art project.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not started properly yet, but we're like in the organising stages. And then,
and what's the sort of intention behind it? So when you
well,
say research-based?
We're researching communal negotiation of autonomy.
Okay, that's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and we've all got like separate projects.
Yeah. Which are all sort of geared up for with a similar intent.
Yeah, exactly. Like coming at it from really different like backgrounds, like really different. It's very interesting when you read the proposals. It's just like how have they got that out of that?
How many of you?
15, I think, 17, 15, something like that. But then we're like also researching together.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we're kind of like, and we're meant to like collaborate as well and stuff. We're meeting up in Athens in September.
So the person who live there.
Yeah. But some of them know each other from before. Like quite a few of them went to the RCA.
Okay.
I find it tricky, this like online meeting thing, because I find it difficult to speak to people I don't know, like on the phone, or like even, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Or like when you don't really projects that are similar to ours, because I'm the research.
I'm going to try and explain it, because basically the clay's been utilised here to create a landscape that we make together. So like maybe the landscape of an architectural space that we can inhabit, or that represents how we might want to run the school. At the moment there's like quite a lot of nostrils. These are noses, there's nose coming out and nose coming out and then
So how is this related to trying to run the school?
I guess
Or desires to run the school?
as a kind of group exercise, you're engaging your hands and whatever is created kind of forms a language in itself, but it's so flexible. This stuff can be reconstituted, it can be changed, it will be manipulated throughout the time that we're here. Somebody can break it apart and put it somewhere else, or bring more, and it will shift and change. There's been some bricks made here. There's a kind of organic thing here, but this hopefully will become a landscape that we can kind of look at from that sort of perspective. We do actually have a manifesto which we're kind of working out how to engage. The previous year rewrote the year before, and it's up to us if we want to rewrite it or we just keep it as it is. We've had a few workshops about how we might engage the language, but it's still very much up in the air. But this, you're very right, this could be...
It could be the manifesto, It could be better than a manifesto, actually.
Yeah, so...
But I like to think about the
Stonehenge kind of thing here. So had about 10 or 12 people come just teaching freehand embroidery. So like skill sharing, but it was just sort of really nice to just see people picking up different techniques, like making flowers. These twigs here are going to be turned into charcoal. Going out into the local area and trying to find free produce. So like source these from around the corner. This is par cooked.
Sorry, we're heading off. It's really nice to meet
you as well. Oh my god, yes, so cool. Yeah. We went round to the local area and found some stone fruit, some damsons and cherry plum trees in some of the parks in the local area. So we've just made this like massive plum crumble. Plum and pear.
So it smells really nice.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, as well. We could have just done it with oats actually. So yeah, we're trying to, as much as we can, sort of do collective activities where we're not using money and to kind of engage space and walking and collecting in a way that's productive for everybody.
What's the typical route of your students? So they usually,
Where they're staying.
well, no, because so some have come from film school,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
you've got others who are doing their
Lots,
MAs currently.
Curators, musicians, filmmakers, but I guess we've all been educated. It's an art MA, so anybody who applies will have to sort of justify their application within the context of an art MA. So production will probably come into it to a certain degree, I guess, of what they are producing, and how they want to engage with an alternative educational facility. But yeah, I think it's quite a diverse group. But I think that was one of the things we wanted to do as well, is to kind of keep looking and challenging that. With the next year that we'll be selecting, trying to keep it as diverse as possible. But art backgrounds mostly. Do you kind of work with fashion?
I did fashion before and
Yeah.
then I studied arts. I went to uni, but then I dropped uni and just studied with teachers, like kind of self-guided education, I guess.
Yeah.
Like going to, traveling, going to museums. So I always work with costume design mostly, and that made me university background in art. And then Borba, who is from Brazil, and he's there now.
Do you think there's a general disappointment in the normal university education from all the students who are coming in?
Do we feel that?
Yeah,
There's a general disappointment.
and that's why they want you to be more open and take these routes.
Disappointment in everything.
Yeah, you're right.
So true.
It's like something.
Yeah.
Like the institution, it's hard because the institution, like the university, has been the same thing for so many, like for a lot of time, centuries maybe, you know? Like the
Yeah.
system. And society changes very fast. So it can't keep up with that.
No.
I would
And
agree.
that's why we have to find alternative ways. And also because the system, that is useful for the system. The system wants you to be to follow certain rules for them to be able to make more money, basically, right? So I don't know. I think if you really want to educate the individual and not the thing, like it's gonna occupy a position in society and make, I don't know, money or whatever. If you want to educate the individual, we need to find new ways of doing that.
Definitely. Yeah, our education can be really corporate and feel very kind of vacuous and like you're just a number on in the system and a kind of product of that, and you're sold. I mean, in England, like you've got, and the UK, you've got like the successes of the 90s artists, and then all the different movements that were successful over the last 100 years, and how our education is engaged with that is very interesting. I'm interested in facilities that produced, avant-garde and kind of alternative practices, and how that then has inspired artists in the future as well. And those are the places that I find more interesting. But it because it can. I went through traditional university studying fine art time-based media, which was closed down while I was on it. It was a course that was experimental avant-garde practices, and the tutors weren't happy about the way that the university was using its funding and using the resources to support the staff or not support the staff, and faculty and the autonomy of how they wanted to run the course as well. And so I was just aware of that going on while I was there. And I don't know. I think it is about trying to work with that. I mean, it's a very privileged position to be in, to go through that type of situation, to have an education that lasts as long as that is incredible as well. Like school, I found, was an amazing experience, and then college and university it's a wonderful thing, but at the same time there is that kind of, how do you challenge it and how do you bring it into the relevant realm to what you to society today? It's really
when you speak to him about what he wants to be when he...
I thought it was the same sort of thing, like perhaps 60 to 70% of the people there were there for the university experience.
Yeah.
Not quite there for the art, so they were still unsure what they wanted to do.
Sure.
It was about...
Interesting way of engaging with art schools anyway, if you're looking at it from a kind of cultural, social, and also musical approach. What a beautiful thing, but then at the same time you're not engaging the same way as everybody or as you might have wanted. But you're also quite young as well, and also you've never done it before as well, so it is really hard to gauge how to engage with the university. I also found it was quite competitive and quite interesting how at that early stage we found the need, or within the university you find need to promote yourself and to sort of be successful straight away, and how people might have business cards or sell their paintings in a degree show, and that would denote success, whereas I don't feel that as much here, even if we are trying to work out how best to approach your own practice. There's still the sort of solidarity of like we're all doing it together, and there's no defined way of doing it as well. But also, whatever you put in, you get out as well. But it is a really good testing ground for future projects, because you're running it yourself and it's self-organised. So, like you say, we're all trying to make it the best that it could be, because we are the facilitators, But yes. Should we go?
Time, the amazing amount of logistics that come into free and accessible education.
So how do you sort of decide who does what within it? So you sort of assign roles, who's going to do the comms and who's going to do that when you...
We do that quite loosely, didn't we?
We tried, and then it's just like thinking.
I'm alright, cheers.
Like someone
Sorry,
offers.
this is Ren and Lawrence are also part of the school now.
Hey, I'm Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Jenny. Hi, Jenny. Yeah, I think that we volunteer to do stuff. Like, I help out with this, right?
Yeah.
It's like that. It's not fair
No,
I do that.
So typically, or in the past, school dams operate on being called a labour exchange basis. They're not able to pay them. So it was for everybody to compile a list of their individual skills, so we can sort of essentially put that into like one giant skill-based spreadsheet. And the idea being, if you ever approach a tutor, you can send this to them and sort of approach them with your skills being made sort of very transparent, and then they can see whether that's something that they want to utilise. But I think, starting with that, it meant that we were very aware what everybody had to offer. So assigning roles used to have sort of like an organic development of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you acknowledge that
You're
you're
right.
good at this,
Yeah.
then would you be interested in doing the website? It seems to fit very much skill
I
based.
feel like we did exactly that.
Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about
Yeah.
your project as well?
Yeah, so
I'm just going to grab some water and anybody else like some.
So I'm part of this online research-based art program called Pacto. It's run by Nora Silver, who's a sculptor who just graduated from the UCA. She's been running her art collective, Miles KM, for like about 7 years. They've done like, she's from Madrid, so like they've done loads of like exchange between London and Madrid, and they did like a travelling art school a couple of years ago, and she does these like summer club projects and stuff to kind of raise money for it, and it's kind of been like an ongoing thing for like the last 7 years. And her and Andrew, who helps her organise it, have started this thing called Pacto, which is, so it's a research project with 15 artists. We're all researching, oh my god, I forgot. I've said it so many times, I'm like, communal negotiation of autonomy. So we each got a different project, like we each got a personal project. So we applied, they put out an open call and we applied. A lot of the people involved are people who've been involved in other Miles KM projects. So they kind of, you know, when Emily was saying this thing of like School of the Damned that just starts afresh every single year, Miles KM I think kind of carry on kind of like, it's like I don't know, it's quite like an organic process of people and then like more people kind of join in. So yeah, they put out this open call and we all applied. And now we start officially in September, so it's going to run over the next year. And we're spread out all over, like across the world. There are a few in America, one Turkish girl, and like just people from different parts of the UK. So we meet up online. And this is the tricky bit, and this is the thing that I think works really, really well, but won't really properly take off until we've all actually physically been in a room together. There is this program called Discord, which is like for online gaming. Discord.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah, it's really good. And you have like all the chats at the side. So we've been split up into like 6 different research groups. So we have 3 residential weeks, so there's research, like a group for each of that. And there is the ones that do research, the ones that do funding, and a communication one, which is like the outward-facing kind of aspect of it, so like website design and Instagram and all the rest of it. And they then meet up in like subcommittees on Discord as well. So we've got like meetings we've got meetings all the time. We're like basically chatting to each other all the time. And then kind of every other week we all meet up and like do a voice chat, which is really, really interesting sometimes. That I find that quite tricky because I don't really like speaking to people I don't know on the phone. Like I find it really weird. But I think once we're going to Athens, so we're meeting up in Athens in September, and I think once we kind of once we've actually all met, it will flow much more.
Probably, yeah.
Because quite a lot of the people have kind of like know each other from before, so obviously for them it's like easy to kind of you know, and they've done this also like quite a lot of people. So yeah, so we're meeting up 3 times over the next year. So the first week in Athens, then we're going to Galicia in March, and then we're going to somewhere either Slovenia or Turkey in July next year. And we've each got a research month where we're leading research. There's like a buddy system thing because we're so many people, so we're like sharing it with someone else whose research or like whose background is really kind of quite similar to what, like, you know, so like you'll be put with someone who has like a similar kind of project to you.
Okay, but your project is individual. It's up to you what you research, basically. And how does anyone join?
Well, it's
Is there an open call?
yeah, there's now an open call this time. initially meant to just be the people that have been involved with Milescale before, but they decided to open it up to other people.
And who decides that?
Well, so Nora and Warren are kind of like the main people in this, who run Milescale and the Art Collective, and they've worked, like, a lot of their projects have been about like the institution and about, also they've done loads of stuff about classrooms, so kind of like where arts education can take place, and they did that travelling art school a couple of years ago, and there are a few other projects. You should look it up on the website.
I will.
So yeah, they decide, and I mean, it's not completely non-hierarchical, but I feel like the people that have experience are really like passing on their knowledge really, really well to everyone else, and it's actually quite nice in a way for someone like me, because I didn't even go to art school, so I don't have a clue what this like arts education should be like.
I think this is one of the things that we were talking about a little bit earlier, isn't it? Which is sort of like quite an interesting question. I don't know if anyone's got any thoughts on it, which is how you accumulate knowledge without accumulating hierarchy.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Because I think we were saying, like, what I was saying, School of the Damned hands over completely each year, which I think is a measure that was put in place to prevent hierarchies from accumulating, but it also means that knowledge does not accumulate.
Well, we
made
got
a really nice exhibition at the Focal Point called Art and Stupidity, and how art and stupidity is actually crucial for the economics of art. The kind of notion of gaining knowledge versus, ignorance or stupidity, and what that means in terms of the hierarchies and how that plays out in society and art world and art in general, historically, classically, contemporary.
But I feel like this question of hierarchy and kind of I feel like it's kind of starting maybe with some people being a little bit more used to this and having a little bit more knowledge, but then it's slowly seeping down through to the rest of us. I feel like we're very good at communicating that. And Nora and Warren have a massive archive of just things they've done before, which we're then working on because I'm doing research. Pardon?
Warren was
Nora? Warren Andrews. Do you know him yet? Yeah, you did. Exactly.
No, I know what. Yeah, I knew what you were talking about. Has he done anything in Venice?
They've been everywhere.
How is it not hierarchical in your? Is it because they run the project and then?
Well, I think we're very good at communicating it and very good at kind of also because but it's this thing we were talking about because they've obviously got experience in doing these things.
My question was how is it hierarchical? Sorry, because you were saying that it is slightly hierarchical.
Well, it's not complete because School of the Damned just hands over completely. Which means that you have a completely fresh start, but also means that you spend a lot of time contextualizing what you're doing.
Exactly.
But it's crazy how it works because it's just a scramble to kind of make sense of the language of the groups and politics.
10 minutes.
Within that, you can't help but find hierarchies in that anyway.
No, this is the thing.
There's no autonomy there.
I mean, it's really interesting.
Yeah, and I find it really useful the people that have done stuff with them before and kind of because they're really good at passing on their knowledge.
I think it's that very nuanced thing though, isn't it? I think it's a really, really difficult line to tread, which is how do you pass on experience without maybe perpetuating the frameworks or the institutional frameworks that experience was first gained through. See what I mean? So let's say that you're talking about the fact that for you it's really, really useful that you are doing this with people who have been to art school because there are experiences that they've accumulated that you are finding incredibly useful to learn through them.
I mean more that they've done self-organised projects before, not so much the art school thing.
Sure.
More that they've been involved in these projects before, they've done a lot of research on that.
My point being, I think they're doing it very, very well in the sense that, an archive, for example, is a very generous way of passing on experience because, number one, it passes on experience, but number two, it presents you with a bank of information which is then, what am I trying to say? An archive is a bank of information and the accountability lies with the person who is interested in accessing it. So, you know, you have to take intent or agency into yourself to gain that experience. So
exactly.
it sort of sidesteps the problem of gaining experience with perpetuating.
Yeah,
It's not strengths that exactly.
So it could just be presented as an archive and then you represent that bit, you
Well, then you choose to
You
access
choose-
it.
yeah,
I guess
yeah,
the
yeah.
intent through which you're accessing it.
And with
Yeah.
groups like Google Docs and stuff, like you can just like people can contribute
Right.
all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not really one
We
person
use
writing
it.
it. Like all the stuff we're writing on is like completely open documents that everyone can just like.
So, School of the Down, there's
Yeah.
no past archives, nothing.
So this is
no
something that we are.
information,
This is something that we are working on because
There is no what, sorry?
no past archives.
Or like no
Oh.
list of students from each
So
year.
there are lists of students,
Oh.
and there are links to those students' individual websites. But it means that you end up with this quite strange archive, where it's an archive of individual bodies, and an archive of individual practices. Where actually the school is about collective enterprise. So it sort of means that it's not a particularly honest reflection of actually what that year did. You know, a year gathered for a year to you know pursue collectivity in various forms, but then they're archived as a list of individuals. So it's not.
So, there's my next question to kind of pose, well, your group and School of the Down is, I mean, a year spent doing amazing work and often research. What happens to it after the year finishes? Like, apart from influencing the individuals who participate in it, does it go? Is it published somewhere? Does it go into lives? I don't know. What happens with that body of knowledge?
With School of the Down, not enough. I think there's something that we're starting to think about and trying to work on. I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about the sort of the library that you're putting together?
Yeah, we also wanted to make a publication this year,
Yeah.
like with all, everything that happened during the year, and just we're gonna work in, I don't know, from London Arts, and we're gonna get some skills. We're gonna make a workshop with them and get some skills about bookbinding and letterpress, which I'm really excited about. And we want to make our publications to live like a registry or something of what happened this year. And then we've been making this online open library where we're basically uploading anything that we think is interesting. I've been doing that. I've read most of the things, not everything because it's a lot. But yeah, the idea this is gonna stay.
So I think it's important to not only share what you've done, but also to share resources that are from you. So I think it's like sharing beginnings as well as sort of outcomes.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's gonna last. Everyone, like a lot of people, are really reading that. Not only from School of the Dam, or not even from the UK or whatever. Like, you receive emails and people add the books to different libraries and to their own things, and it's amazing. It's an amazing resource.
How do you divide that? Because one thing we're working on a library as well, or like a reading list or whatever. How do you you have to split it up into categories?
I didn't do that.
You didn't do that at all?
Well, at the moment we have maybe 43 publications, so it's very manageable.
Yeah.
Most of them are about alternative education, which is really important, but also, obviously it's a main thing for us. But also we have some astrology stuff and some permaculture stuff, other things, topics we are interested in, not only, And the categories are really difficult also because maybe I'm uploading that, I'm not an expert, in which category should I put this? Art history, philosophy, sociology, everything, so at the moment we didn't think about that. But we had one of our, one of the members of School of the Dam is a librarian, so Darren. So I suggested him to organize it because that's a good skill. But we really want to make something that will last, and we're really keen to share, also with other School of the Dam members. From the past, we're organizing a symposium too, right? To get to know each other. I don't know. I think that's really important. It's a shame that just only one person from last year came. You know what I mean? It's nice if I don't know.
I mean, that said though, I mean, it is kind of an ambitious thing, isn't it, where I think a lot of the alternative art schools, sorry, when I say a lot of the ones that are based in London, they've only been going for, you know, a small number of years. I mean, a lot of them were set up in reaction to, you know, the £9,000. And, you know, it's a lot to try and work out in quite a short space of time.
It's a lot.
But again, you know, that's not an excuse. I think it's again why it's so important to be pushing this idea of accumulation. I mean, accumulation, you know, that's considered
Of resources.
but because, you know, it feels like it's the beginning of a conversation that will hopefully continue to be productive for a number of years.
I was going to say, like, the manifesto for the school seems to be the discourse crystallised into like language. It doesn't work necessarily because it doesn't represent what has happened, but it does represent an accumulation of people's relative practices and relative practices, but also ethos of the ongoing situation for our peers and for people interested in alternative education. And that's where the solidarity lies, really, in expanding and crystallising it into something that can be read or looked at or watched or listened to. You know, we haven't decided how we're going to do it, but for me and for us, I know that is something that straight away we're just like, how do we tackle this? Like, and this crystallisation of a kind of a political and kind of ideological, utopian, but very tangible piece of text that is stratifies like everything.
I think like crystallisation is a really good word. I mean, if you think about the manifesto as being a crystallisation of intent.
These two were saying that this could be the new manifesto.
I like that. I mean, I do like that actually, because I was going to say that I think crystallisation is a really good word because for me it actually highlights one of the fundamental problems that I have with the manifesto. Or like not so much with the manifesto, but the fact that the manifesto is the only thing that is handed over. Because what it does is it for me it's quite reductive because it is, you know, a manifesto is a crystallisation of intent that is realised as a result of processes, conversations, complexities, arguments, etc. And by only handing over you deny access to everything that came before to realise it. So for me, you know, we're looking at like an archive versus a manifesto. I mean, I'm setting up a sort of binary here or an either or just for the sake of this conversation. I'm not saying that one has to cancel out the other, but I do think it's problematic that we have the manifesto, but we don't have the archive, or we don't have access to the accumulation and achieve that manifesto.
It's also hard to document. Like we were also thinking about doing podcasts, like everything, like recording this and then upload it to Vimeo, whatever, and having like a SoundCloud channel, and you know, with the crits we do, like everything like open, and like also for other people like you, like anyone that is interested in doing it the same can take the model and do it. Actually, there is a school that is like that. You just can like. I don't remember now, but if you're interested, I can send you the link. They do that. I don't remember the name, but they exactly tell you, okay, you can take this model and do your school somewhere. And I wanted to say, that is hard to document also because a lot of things, a lot of the learning or this process of exchanging knowledge happens in a very different way. It's not in a classroom or in a play. It happens in the kitchen when Sean is telling two people how to make like a crumble. You know what I mean? And it happens when I say to him, have you read this book? You know? So there are a lot of small things that happen that makes it a bit difficult to document too. So we need and it's a lot of work also to think about how to document that. Okay, shall we write down everything
Recipe book.
Yeah.
We talked about
that.
We're kind of working on this. We've been thinking a lot about this as well, and we're working on finding some kind of online platform where you can literally just like check things, like anyone can kind of, a little bit like you were saying say about the open library, because I don't feel like an archive needs to be this like set thing. Like it's kind of like a process of constantly kind of like everyone just contributing, like whatever, like it doesn't
Like
have to be
iPhone
but-
notes kind of
yeah, all that sort of stuff, and we're working on trying to find a platform that can do this for us, and also where you can comment on things and kind of share ideas and start new conversations, and kind of, I don't know, we haven't found like the format completely yet, but that's one of the things that the communications group is working on, so that we kind of keep it going, and that's also kind of answers your question maybe in a way with what happens after. Well, essentially this could just never end, you know, like people can keep throwing things in there.
So would that be open to the public?
Yeah.
I just think it would be easy to like access in terms of like understanding.
Submit anything.
It's not my, it's not my my bag.
In a way, the
I'm least
internet is
techie
already
person,
there.
but we've got some really talented people that know a lot about sort of like web design and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In a way, internet itself is that.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Just curious, which is anybody here in education in any capacity?
Yeah, I am
Yeah. So,
very dissatisfied.
I think that's been your experience. So to those who aren't in education, who aren't involved in, so when I say education, I mean a learning process that is in some way formalised, whether that's school down, whether that's, an accredited MA or BA programme, or, another alternative. How do you go about continuing to learn or continuing to substantiate ideas, practices, like, where do you turn to? Because I think if we're thinking about how we acquire knowledge, then the best way to do that is just to think about, how we do that outside of these formats.
Reading,
Yeah.
going to
Mentorships.
talks and stuff.
Yeah, dialogues with peers. That's it.
Yeah.
Educating yourself. Educating It's like an ongoing process. If you actively decide that you don't want to start learning, it's like it's up for the taking. It's just access, isn't it? Like facilitation is a way of performing that access or promoting. Yeah.
Like over other things, or like, obviously if you're in a program you have to do work, and if you're like doing things together, that's like just like finding the time within your normal life to continue that.
That's why art is really important, because it does that. It's quite often that will be a huge part of the institution of art, is the educational side of it, and how that is engaging with society and how that provides.
Do you do anything like reading groups at all?
Do we?
Yeah. No, like, so you're setting up a library, would you?
Texts based on. So I was talking about the guests work from each time that we meet up outside of residences, or kind of what the model that we're doing is. Really?
We wanted to, there are so many things to organize, and it's hard to agree on something. Also because as some of us live in London and some of us live somewhere else, it's not hard, sometimes, that would mean meet up at another time, or do the reading group on that weekend, and sometimes all the activities we have. But anyway, we invited this reading group called Art and Critique. I mean, actually, they are kind of a similar organization. They try to make their own. They want to make their own art school, but they also have a reading book, like an art reading book, and it's great. And it's called Symposium. Go, please, everyone. If you live here in London, it's really, really good. And even though it's intended not to be hierarchical, I think that there is one particular person that knows a lot, and it's really interesting just listening to her or ask questions, and it's amazing. So we're gonna do that tomorrow, actually at 7.
I'm part of the group.
you know, like you said, like the pages were made to reflect what was in the text or